Well, folks, there has finally been some progress in my human rights complaint against the United States, and it appears to bring with it a bit of good news. Before I get started, this is a great time to personally thank those of you who are supporting us via Patreon and helping us to pay the legal costs of this struggle. You have all helped us get this far. And for those of you who might not be Patreon members, if you like what we do and you want to help push this legal case through all the way through the German court, please consider helping us with the legal costs by joining our Patreon page or by making a donation. That would be a huge help. Thank you. For those who aren't familiar with this case, allow me to give you a brief synopsis. In 2018, I fled to Germany and sought political protection because I believed that my human rights were being violated in the United States because of the restrictions placed on my freedom by the sex offender registry. Keep in mind that I had completed my prison sentence and had successfully completed my term of supervision. Yet my freedom had not been restored to me, and it was never going to be. Specifically, I alleged that the registry violated my right of movement within my own country, the right to leave my native country, and the right to privacy in my personal life. These rights are protected by international law for all human beings and cannot be infringed upon for someone who is not on probation or parole. In August of 2020, a hearing was held in a German courtroom. In that hearing, I made my allegations on record and presented my evidence. My evidence consisted of certified court copies of my conviction and sentence, certified copy of my prison release documents, my Florida driver's license, which has the sex offender identifier stamped on it, of course, the pertinent Florida statutes, the International Megan's Law, and the Adam Walsh Act. Additionally, the court posed quite a few questions to me on direct examination. I should note here that German courts are very different animals than the American courts. Here in Germany, the judges are not limited to the evidence presented in open court by the two parties. Instead, they are allowed to conduct their own investigations and collect their own evidence from their own sources. Before my hearing had even begun, the judge had already acquainted himself with the laws I just mentioned, as well as my criminal history. In fact, he had even gone so far as to research the sex offender registry laws in all the 50 states. Yes, I'm serious. He put that much effort into understanding my situation, and he was legally allowed to ask questions of me on direct examination to flesh out a few of the finer points of my story and my allegations. I should also mention that during the hearing, the German Immigration Authority was represented by a lawyer, but he seemed to serve more in the role of an observer or a gentle advisor than an actual participant. He certainly did nothing to argue against my allegations. Anyway, the hearing was held back in August of 2020, and then we waited for a decision. We were told that the decision would come within 2 to 4 weeks. That was awfully optimistic because we waited. And then we waited some more. And then we waited still longer. And nearly an entire year passed without a decision. Meanwhile, my lawyer kept telling me that this was a good sign. It's easy for a judge to say no. But when the judge is leaning toward answering with a yes, particularly in a case such as this, which will set precedent on an international stage, he is going to take his time and he's going to be very, very careful. Well, we have finally received some word from the German court. On July 7th, the court issued an order directing the German Foreign Ministry to investigate the factual claims that I made and either substantiate or debunk them. My lawyer explained to me that this means that the German embassy in Washington, D.C. will probably hire a private American lawyer who will then gather verifiable evidence concerning my allegations that the American Sex Offender Registry places lifelong restrictions on the freedom of folks who have already completed their criminal sentences. Make no mistake, this is a huge development. You see, the court has had nearly a year to consider my allegations and cross-check them against European and international law. Keep in mind that I had already submitted my own evidence. If after reviewing all this information, the court then believed that the allegations, if later proven true, did not rise to the level required by law, he would have dismissed my case already. The fact that he is now searching for independent verification of the evidence means that we are moving in the right direction. Things are looking good. Now, in case you're wondering why the court is searching for evidence independent of what I offered, I believe the answer is rather simple. The judge cannot know if the evidence presented in court is genuine or not. For all he knows, I manufactured those documents on my personal computer. Now, why anybody would manufacture a criminal record, I don't know. That generally is not something in your favor. But in a case as big and significant as this one, he is going to make certain that the facts on which he bases his opinion will be rock solid. As the German Foreign Ministry begins its independent investigation, we must understand that this could take a little while. I have been advised that this might take 2 to 3 months. Once the Foreign Ministry completes its investigation and submits its findings to the court, I will receive a copy. When I receive that copy, I will report the findings to you promptly. And that's going to be the news from Southern Germany today. Like you, I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't have a final decision yet, but this was an excellent intermediate decision. I continue to be encouraged that we're going to get the ruling that we're hoping for. And I hope that you take encouragement from it as well. As I close out this video, let me remind you that if you're not happy with your situation, you need to do something about it. You need to kind of take the bull by the horns. It's on you. So something I've been telling my staff lately at work is if you want something different in your life, if you want your life to be different than it was, then you have to be willing to do things that are different than what you've done previously. For each person, that's going to be different. Everybody's situation is different. For me, this was the right decision. But I want to encourage you. Your life is not over. Don't act like it is. Until next time, my friends, please be safe, please be smart, and we'll see each other soon. Bis bald. Tschüss.